Hello, good evening, and thank you for watching Times News. I am Edita Soko. First, the headlines. Failure to involve parliamentary committees contributed to the 6.2 billion kwacha COVID mess, a parliamentary committee has said. President Lazarus Chakwera pays tribute to people who sacrificed lives in service to Malawi. And some independent power producers risk having their licenses revoked. We also have the latest in international news. Do stay with us. And our first news item, failure by the government to involve oversight parliamentary committees in managing the COVID pandemic contributed to the 6.2 billion kwacha mess. This is according to Chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Health, Matthews Ngwale. Ngwale told Parliament on Tuesday the committees should have been involved and given detailed information to follow up on how the funds were being used. Odrega Balamula reports.
According to Ngwale, while billions were involved, there was no parliament involvement to oversee use of the resources. Ngwale said not only his committee was sidelined, but also other parliamentary committees such as Social Affairs and Legal Affairs to ensure that there was prudent use of the resources.
What happened was the COVID-19 funds were in billions, lots of money. Now that money was just being distributed to different organizations. There was no parliament involvement to see whether indeed the money was doing what it was supposed to do. So what happened was the institutions abused the money. So right now we are arresting or we are dismissing people for things that would have been avoided if parliament were involved.
But co-chairperson of Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Kombise Kandodo Chiponda, said Parliament is an independent arm of government which can provide oversight function without an invitation. Chiponda said Parliament has the powers to follow how the executive is utilizing the resources, including summoning the Presidential Task Force. Following revelations of mismanagement of 6.2 billion kwacha, which was released in August last year, President Lazarus Chakwera moved to suspend heads of 13 clusters for failing to submit expenditure reports as directed. It was later revealed that most of the funds were used on allowances other than provision of personal protective equipment.
President Lazarus Chakwera has paid tribute to Malawians who continue sacrificing their lives in service to the country. Chakwera said this when he led Malawians in saluting martyrs who sacrificed their lives for Malawi's independence from British rule. Jemison Jauluga reports.
Chakwera says it is therefore right for the people of Malawi to remember these matters all the time. He said Malawians must come together in various places to honor the resolve and sacrifices of the martyrs to free our country. The president then challenged people in the country to demonstrate the same resolve to build Malawi. He says in his view there is no better way to honor the sacrifices made than building a new Malawi the martyrs dreamt of and died for.
On this day, it is right for us to come together as a nation in various places across the country to honor the resolve and sacrifice of these martyrs. The resolve and sacrifice they demonstrated to free our country, which is the resolve and sacrifice our men and women in uniform demonstrate daily to protect our country, is the same resolve and sacrifice all of us must demonstrate to build our country. I can think of no better way to honor their sacrifice and resolve than for us to build the new Malawi they dreamed of and died for.
The third March celebrations this year coincided with the ceremonial guard mounting, which is the change of soldiers providing security at the State House.
And meanwhile, families of the 31 martyrs who were killed in Nkhata Bay 62 years ago say they are still pushing for compensation. Representatives say the families are living in dire poverty despite their relatives sacrificing their lives for Malawi. Sam Kalimira has the story.
James Tawe, 72, from Traditional Authority Nkumbira in Nkhata Bay district, can hardly walk due to swollen feet. Tawe depends on a walking stick, and sometimes he is assisted by his grandchildren to walk. The granny is among the 31 families who started pushing the government in 2005 for compensation for the loss of their relatives on 3rd March 1959.
We need to be compensated. And once we are compensated, even those people who died, they will know that our descendants have been compensated, and they will also be happy where they are lying.
The martyrs were shot by British soldiers at Nkhata Bay Jet as they protested against the arrest of their relatives who were kept in floating Mpasa ship on Lake Malawi. Tawe alleged that the families have never benefited from government initiatives such as Malata and the Cement Subsidy, social cash transfer programs, affordable input program, among others. One of the survivors, Manasseh Benga Chiumia, age 77, said he is not comfortable with the way Malawians celebrate the lives of the martyrs. Chiumia said the importance of the day was diluted in 1990 when the country chose multi-party and voted for democracy.
It should be remembered as a solemn day. No football matches, because that is a pleasure. You don't play football while you are mourning. People, as I've said, we can't expect them to go back to the stage that Kamuzu was. But some due respect must be given to this day.
Chairperson of the organizing committee, Paul Nazombe, said the bereaved families, the clergy and chiefs resolved to cancel the event after realizing that it would not be easy to manage multitudes of people who come for the annual commemorations.
Thousands of people gather there, and others interested only to see the vehicles, what have you. So we found out that was not going to be controlled.
President Lazarus Chakwera, in his address to the nation, said Malawi respects the martyrs because they put up a good fight. Chakwera then asked Malawians to work hard serving the nation so that the vision of the martyrs can be fulfilled.
And as Malawians observe Martyrs' Day today without the usual fanfare due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Thomas Kajere explores whether Malawi has succeeded in living up to the values which the fallen heroes had dreamed of.
Freedom comes in stages. Behind it, there are courageous men and women who stood firm, and some lost their lives in the process. In commemorating the lives and works of brave men and women who defied all odds to the extent of sacrificing their lives for the liberation of the motherland Malawi, the 2021 Martyrs' Day is centered on whether Malawi has succeeded to live within the values which our martyrs dreamed.
I'm not a slave, I'm just black, you better let me be. I'm not a slave, man, I'm just black. I'm not a slave, man, I'm just black.
That special report by Thomas Kajere. We'll be back shortly after the break.
To achieve great things in life, you must do little things every day, like the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate.
One, wake up, wake up. Two, brush up, brush up. Three, smile through your
3 with Colgate and give yourself a future to smile about. If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
Do your gums hurt?
Yeah.
Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile?
All that in one toothpaste?
Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums.
Ah, Colgate Herbal.
Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
I'm a mechanical engineer. An I-Lead team studying for a PhD with UNICAF University has improved my leadership skills. I can apply everything I learn at my workplace. The teams I lead now are the best. With my tight schedule and heavy workload, there is no other way I could have earned a PhD. Thanks to UNICAF University. Soon, I'll be Dr. Conceptor.
Welcome back to the news on Times TV, TTV. Government has given independent power producers up to this month end to start producing electricity or have their licenses revoked. Minister of Energy Newton Kambala says out of the 10 licensed independent power producers, only 3 companies are operational. Wezi Gausi caught up with Kambala and she now reports.
As the country is expected to produce 2,000 megawatts of electricity by 2030, it is challenging to see some licensed companies failing to roll out. According to Kambala, the ministry is engaging 7 companies that are idle. He says the government will not entertain lame excuses on their failure to roll out. The minister says with expansion of industries, the country needs a lot of power.
And this is why you find that we're emphasizing that the other IPPs should also work very hard to make sure that we deliver the other sites as well, so that we can have the necessary capacity of generation that the economy needs.
Meanwhile, the minister has disclosed that Quantel Company is ready to start producing electricity in the northern part of Malawi. The company will add 50 megawatts of solar power to the national grid, while Omolanji Hydro is expected to add 8.2 megawatts.
Students at Kamuzu College of Nursing have asked well-wishers to financially support needy students at the institution. Students' Union President Crispin Kadama made the call on Tuesday when the college's alumni donated 500,000 kwacha to the union. Matthias Kasanda has the details.
Gadama has said there are some students who need financial support in their studies, including money to pay for meals. While extending gratitude for the donation, he also used the opportunity to ask for more support.
Most of the students are coming from poor families, such that they cannot manage to pay the expensive fees, which is 400,000 per year.
Brave Tembo is KCN Alumni Secretary.
We had a call from the KCN Student Union concerning some needy students regarding their welfare in terms of accommodation, food. So today we are here responding to that call.
KCN Principal Messi Pindani says the school management cannot afford to meet all the students' needs.
This donation is going to help us quite a lot because on our own we can't afford everything. But with this, we'll make sure that all the students that are having this challenge, at least they share this cake so that for some days they benefit from having meals through the donation that, the cash donation that has come.
The donated funds have been raised through membership contribution by the alumni.
In other news, Pump Aid has repaired 400 boreholes in Njinji, Doa and Kasungu districts. The organization has used 120 million kwacha to repair the boreholes in efforts to combat the COVID-19 pandemic and provide potable water to rural masses. Programs manager Jugondi Gaomba says the investment will help rural communities fight the pandemic.
In fact, our target was to do repair in 400 water points. So far, we have done 380. We have remained with almost 20 borehole in Njinji district. We are very happy because previously communities were facing challenges in terms of water access. They were struggling to find clean and potable water. Traveling maybe long distance to draw water, but also the prevalence of waterborne diseases were very high, with this COVID pandemic. Now, as a project, we are very happy because the community now is able to access clean and potable water.
And Cecilia Banda is Doa District Water Officer.
This means that as the district, the functionality rate of the district has improved. And to the people of this area and every community that has been helped with pump aid, I would encourage them that they should keep on taking care of their water point, and also they should be working hand in hand with the area mechanic, which is who is like an extension worker for their area, for the water point to continue working. For those that are not functioning, we can say they are less than 10%. For those that are functioning, we had 75, but when pump aid came in, now we can say we are close to 90% functional. When we come to coverage to the west side of the district, we are doing well, but to the east side of the district, we are not doing well because of the terrain.
In international news, the Biden administration announced sanctions on Tuesday on senior Russian government officials for the poisoning of Alexei Navalny and reiterated a demand that the opposition leader be released from detention. The sanctions were not specifically directed at President Vladimir Putin or his inner circle. White House correspondent Patsiwuda Kuswara has the story.
This penal colony about 100 kilometers east of Moscow is where outspoken Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny has been jailed since last month after surviving a poison attack last year. On Tuesday, the Biden administration declassified intelligence showing that Moscow orchestrated the poisoning and announced sanctions on 14 Russian entities and 7 senior members of the Russian government.
Expansion of sanctions under the Chemical and Biological Weapons Control and Warfare Elimination Act, new export restrictions on items that could be used for biological agent and chemical production, and visa restrictions.
Press Secretary Jen Psaki repeated U.S. demands for Navalny's release. The opposition leader's arrest set off nationwide street protests in Russia last month. Navalny contends his jailing is politically motivated. The U.S. sanctions were coordinated with European partners and Britain, but not specifically directed at President Vladimir Putin or the oligarchs of his inner circle.
Russia is a huge country. It has a lot of ways to influence the events in many parts of the world. So I understand that the only thing that Biden administration could do is to send signals. These are strong signals, but these are just signals. This is not something that has a material effect.
The White House denies the sanctions are largely symbolic. Responding to VOA, Psaki acknowledged it is important to maintain relations with Moscow on many issues, including on the Iran nuclear negotiation.
Russia is a P5+1 partner. They were as we pursued the JCPOA under the Obama-Biden administration, and they certainly would be a key partner if that diplomatic process were to move forward. So the point is, There are areas where we disagree. There are areas where there's significant challenge. There are also areas where we are going to work with the Russians, as we would with most global partners, when we need to take steps that are in the interest of the United States.
Last month, President Joe Biden said that unlike his predecessor, he has made clear to Putin that the U.S. will no longer tolerate Russian aggressive actions, including election interference, cyber attacks, and the poisoning of its citizens. But analysts say Biden's policy toward Russia must allow room for engagement in areas of mutual interest.
This includes arms control, a positive environmental and economic agenda in the Arctic, to some extent climate change, and a couple of regional theaters where we both have troops, including in Syria. So there's a need to work with Russia on a range of issues, and I think the Biden administration will pursue both cooperation and try to reestablish clear lines of what they regard as appropriate norms of international behavior.
Meanwhile, Moscow has already vowed to retaliate against the sanctions. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News.
And that's the news for now, but before we go, the headlines again. Failure to involve parliamentary committees contributed to the 6.2 billion kwacha COVID mess, a parliamentary committee has said. President Lazarus Chakwera pays tribute to people who sacrificed their lives in service to Malawi. And some independent power producers risk having their licenses revoked. You can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website www.times.mw. You can also like our Facebook page Times 360 Malawi or follow us on Twitter at Times 360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, and mask up. Please stay safe. I'm Edita Soko. Thank you for watching.
The chairman, board members, management and staff of Blantyre Water Board join His Excellency the State President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera in commemorating Martyrs' Day. Blantyre Water Board, water is life. Conserve it. The chairman, board members, management and staff of Malawi Bureau of Standards join His Excellency the State President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera in commemorating Martyrs' Day. The chairman, board members, management and staff of National Construction Industry, NCIC, join His Excellency the State President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera in commemorating Martyrs' Day.
The chairman, Mr. Zangazanga Jikosi, Secretary to Office of the President and Cabinet, board members, CEO, management and staff of Electricity Generation Company Malawi Limited, Ejenco, join His Excellency the State President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera and the Malawi nation in commemorating Martyrs' Day on 3rd March. Generating power for generations.
Maploti are 20 by 30, Komanso 45 by 45 are Innobuild Private Limited. Omwe akupezeka kubwemba, atsikiratu mtengo ndi 20%.